Day night. It's 8 o'clock. That means it's time for TV Talk here on Nerd Initiative. My name's Off the Cuff Tom. Welcome to Who in Review. Play the intro. God, I love that thing. Big thank you. Big shout out to Cell Phone Wallet Keys. Obviously, Mickey was on last week as my first companion, but you know what? With me this week, I have one half of the dynamic 2-0 from Hopseek News. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Matt with us. He's also one of my fantastic co-hosts on Nerd Initiative's Turn a Page. Matt, thank you so much for coming out tonight.
I had to hop in my TARDIS, get on down here to chat with you about some Doctor Who, especially because this is a pretty good episode. I mean, we're going to dive into it, but I wish there was more than just 8 episodes in this season to spend with this Doctor, because overall I've been having a lot of fun.
And you're very, very right. And I think, that everybody should be following along here, not just at Nerd Initiative, but especially with Doctor Who. I think that over the course of the past few years with production and COVID and this, that, and the other thing, they've taken the whole idea of Doctor Who and just really shrunk it down to fit inside like a shed or something. So I think they need to get back to that, 14, 15, 16 episode season. Like, let's draw out something. Let's take a little bit away from the CGI and let's give us an episode. Let the actors shine for themselves.
Yeah, I agree. I think part of the reason for that is also that some of the other complaints were, they kind of, when like Stephen Moffat was writing, for example, he tried to outsmart himself with like Matt Smith. So the longer the seasons went on, people were like, oh, we're just trying to get to the end. Where this one, actually, I feel like we have a really good story, the way that they have written it out well. We're very invested in this Doctor. Man, I am, Ncuti has been an absolutely charismatic Doctor. And his like range of emotions and acting was on absolute full display in this episode. And there's even a really cool character that I can't wait to get to kind of talk about here too.
Exactly. Trust me, this one is not a foul episode at all. It is not for the bird brains out there. Spoiler alert, ladies and gentlemen. We are talking about Doctor Who in review. We're talking the episode Rogue.
Yes.
So we're in 1813 where we're starting at now. For those of you who might not be aware, so there were some famous TV shows that are happening right now on another streaming service, that's in a mid-season right now. So I think this is a great layover, very Bridgerton-esque, as a matter of fact. Ruby and the Doctor start off by dancing, as you see right down below here. They're doing the steps and everything, but they really don't know what is going on as far as how is it we're dancing? Why is it we're dancing? Like our other fantastic dancing partner, ODPH. That's right. Ken's in the house. Thank you, Ken. Don't forget, make sure you're sharing this out with everybody. I know Ken does that very well.
He does.
But how did they do this? So they gave us another Deus Ex Machina. It's the psychic earrings.
Dude, okay. I love this. Honestly,
I thought that was a great idea.
I did too, because I mean, if you have a sonic screwdriver and then it's like, well, how are you able to understand all these different things? How are you able to blend in with all these different cultures that you're going across the world? Mm-hmm. He's like, well, it's easy. I gave you the sonic earrings. And then he was like, just don't turn them into battle mode. And I was like, oh yeah, we're going to get to see some battle mode later on. But the earrings were awesome. Yeah. Like my wife's a big Bridgerton fan. So I've seen a little bit of Bridgerton, and that's where I thought we were going at first before they blatantly told us that's where we were at. And I was like, all right, okay.
Dude, let me tell you, if you get a chance to watch Bridgerton, absolutely do it. I can say that wholeheartedly. I love the show. I think it is so smartly written. It is as modern and as classy as it can be at the same exact time. And on top of it, the music that they add in, that they tweak to be period specific. As a guy who played music for years, I love it. As a guy who played classical music for 6 years, I love it.
There's nothing that like quite gets me as a big music fan is when, I was talking about this in one of my reviews I was writing earlier for, New Comic Book Day for DC, and it was a period piece. And like when they nail the essence of like the time periods, and it's the little details, like the music, the dress wear, the way that they talk, immerses you even more into it. And from what I have seen from Bridgerton, I mean, it's not like I'm unwilling. I just typically play video games, but I pop in and out, and it's all my friends are into it. There's like 80 different spin-offs at this point of Bridgerton, I think, or could just maybe it's one long continuous thing, but it's pretty popular.
Well, it pulls the Power Ranger thing. It switches itself to where their focus is each season. So each season
Ah,
they focus on a different kid to a different aspect. So that's what I like about that. And there's only been one spinoff so far. If they
that would
do,
make a lot more
if they
sense.
do more, I don't know.
Yeah, no, that makes sense why I see new people every single time, I guess, because their focus is different. See, you learn something
Mhm.
every
But
come to the show and you learn something new, folks.
But the best part is that you're looking at through this angle, but you will still see your friends from over here before, with the exception of I think season one, Lady Daphne. They kind of got away from that storyline because she had her happily ever after, and there's a whole bunch of other. But we're talking Doctor Who.
We are talking Doctor
We
Who.
are
Yes,
talking Doctor Who.
Doctor
All
Who.
right, so down here, back in the next picture, we see that the Doctor, who looks quite ravishing in velvet,
He does.
and Ruby are talking, and she's about to be sent off with one of the ladies, Lady Pemberton, who also is a Bridgerton alumni. So that's what even ties this whole episode
Ah,
together. Synergy, which I think is hilarious considering the fact that, oh, maybe we should go to Star Trek.
is she in Star Trek too?
No, but they mentioned it. I think she might actually have been in
Oh.
Star Trek now that I think about it.
Well, it's just like all those British actors, like not for nothing, like BBC is very ancestral in how they like do all their
Oh, yeah.
Ghosts and Doctor Who, and like they all jump on into each other's shows all the time. And so you're
Well,
like, I person, where's it from? And then you're like, oh yeah, the 75 other pop culture related shows I've watched.
no, 73. As a matter of fact, in 73 yards, the dowagers, the dowager from Downton Abbey's butler was the right hand man to the bad guy in 73 yards this
Ah.
season because I watch too much TV.
Well,
That's why
that's
I
why you're
do
the
this.
pop culture connoisseur.
Thank you very much. Uh, so as you see, the Doctor and Ruby are about to split off. She starts getting a little from her psychic earrings. So he goes to figure this all out while she goes and plays, courting with all the single and available gentlemen. Yes, you are. I put Matt on my dance card, maybe.
Hey, also we start out this episode though with two gentlemen walking from across the party, and one gentleman being like, "You get all the fun, you're the bad guy, all this stuff," and then that's when like the lightning strikes, and he takes over his body, which gives us a little bit of, oh,
Dun, dun, dun.
what are we doing here? And then that's when
Mhm.
they kick in, they see the interference to where Ruby Sunday must go find a partner. She has to go through here and court the gentlemen that are all walking around this party and meet and touch elbows, if you will. And that's
Friends at a party is one thing. Suitors are another thing.
yes, especially in this era. Oh, you don't have any suitors. Interesting.
So as the episode goes on, the Doctor goes up to the balcony, and you can see that as the title card when it comes back around. He starts talking with a very handsome Jonathan Groff. And if those of you don't know Jonathan Groff, Tony nominee Jonathan Groff played King Richard in was it Richard or George? You're the history guy.
Uh,
Revolutionary War, dude.
oh, King George.
Thank you. He played King George in Hamilton, Spittle and all. Again, you can watch on Disney Plus.
You could. You could.
Yep. And he plays a new character. He's brooding. He's and he
Serious.
serious, very serious, very very serious. And his name is Rogue, like Beyonce, only one word.
Not quite like the rogue that we're used to seeing, calling people sugar and everything.
That's what I mean there, Shay. I tell you, I'm like a short-tailed cat in a whole room full of rocking chairs.
He is, but no, he is like he obviously has been overtaken. He's very, just dead serious, playing it straight, all of this other things, while the Doctor finds himself staring at a very handsome other man that's just overlooking the party. And you're
Hmm.
like, oh, who is this guy? This guy was an inspiration for me all of a sudden, just like wanting Henry Cavill in the Doctor Who universe, just because he kind of looked like Henry Cavill. I was like, could you imagine Henry Cavill in this universe? Like, I kind of want that.
Dude, he's such a nerd. He would do it just for the
That's what I'm
sake of
saying.
doing it. Seriously, even if we got we're in a time frame where everything's played by board games and that's how you solve the world, and that means Henry Cavill's got to show up, at the last 5 minutes, Warhammer way. I've got this.
Bring in like the Toy Master again, and then like, not to mention, could you imagine like this big hulking man of just like a beefcake running around, but then he's just like a child at heart within the whole episode or something. Like, I don't know. There's something because Henry Cavill can really lean into, if you've seen some of his, other movies, he's very good at like the comedic chops, and he's very good at like the
Argyle.
aura. Yeah, Argyle. He's very, very good at the whole Doctor Who essence, if you will, that the Doctor, that goofy style of play that they give into the Doctor.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So as they keep going back and forth, Ruby starts following one of the other young ladies who was chasing after the gentleman from earlier, the Lord Barton or
Yes.
Stilton or Barton, Lord Barton, and they're having their moment. Oh, but I mustn't. Yes, but I love you. I shall woo you. I shall take you. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, but I
Nobody
shouldn't.
has to
You shall
know.
ruin me. Yeah. Ruby interrupts that, and he peace of
I
mouth.
gotta go. Yeah, she was just trying to read a book. That's all she was doing.
It's a library because who wants to hang out with a bunch of posh pomps? Let's
I
go have a
mean,
book.
I'd rather steal their alcohol and just sit by that fire reading a book. I mean, that's my kind of night. I'd be down for that.
Give me a good claret any day.
Yeah, I'm saying.
So Ruby starts chatting it up with Lady Emily, and they start, they just start being girls. The only problem is she's the girl from 2024,
Things are a little
not
too
1830.
cush.
Little too okay.
Yes. Oh, I like you. You talk funny.
Yeah, you use words.
Nobody can read a book in peace. It's Doctor Who. We got things to get to. Come on, Ken.
Exact.
Keep up.
The only person who can read a book in peace is Jane Austen when they did that whole episode way back when.
Yes. They're
Uh,
like getting into it here, and they're having girl talk, man. They're bonding. You're like,
seriously.
oh my gosh, like this is amazing. Where's the glass of wine? They hit it off instantly. And all of a sudden, there's gonna be a book club over some mimosas. We're vibing.
What could be a book club back in 1813?
I feel like they definitely because wasn't like Charles Dickens.
Crochets. I
I don't
mean,
know, like what books were from around the Bible. I guess I don't know.
especially yeah. Oh no,
In this era of England,
The Bible might even be a little too rough for for fine ladies
that's
of this
right.
day and age.
These women, oh my goodness, yeah.
Samson and Delilah.
Mickey's with me. Neither of us have ever really watched an episode of Bridgerton. So at first, I was lost in the Bridgerton sauce myself.
Oh, trust me, I will dive into the Bridgerton sauce any day. Trust me. Trust me. I would love. Yeah. So so we keep going here, and there's the Lady Pemberton. That's correct. And as you see, she's looking rather coy as she watches over her crowd, her crew. She even goes and chases off one of the other young ladies and says, "Well, excuse me, you look very nice in that dress that I wore last season, bitch."
Oh yeah, that was an ultimate like caddy moment. I love early 1800s like Stepford Wives caddy moment. She's like, I wore that dress last party. Ooh, and she's just like, and runs away. It was perfect. Oh yeah, I love it.
But then there's the maid down the hall.
Yeah, who just appears out of nowhere and is like, I should have all this time. I've been a maid. I've been cleaning. There's so much work, and you're just like, uh-oh, what's happening? Next thing you know, boom, she's the life of the party. She is the host of the party as she has presumed Lady Pemberton's identity.
Hmm. And what I really liked after watching this a second time, because I just watched it with my wife, was like, "What do you want to do for dinner?" Oh, well, I put on Doctor Who before I do the thing. Good refresher. I've In a rewatch, I noticed there were certain sound effects that would happen outside of the lightning, and we'll talk about that because I've got some good
Mm.
pictures when it comes to this. So, but yes, Mickey, go watch Bridgerton. Get your partner, get your wife, get your spouse. Watch it. Trust
Mickey
me.
and I are going to start a Bridgerton watch party. Who's coming?
I'm in. I'm down. Heck, once we're done Doctor Who, I think TV Talk could even line up for the second half of the season.
Oh, that's right.
Speaking of TV, don't forget to come and watch Matt as he talks Star Wars: The Acolyte too. But we'll get to that
Yes.
later.
Well, we'll get to that later. We're
Eh,
Doctor Whoing right now.
Doctor Who now.
Look at these
Speaking
things. Are
of
they
birds, look at
owls?
these.
Are they cats? Are they birds? Like I like my man's eyebrows back here.
They're birds. They are definitely birds. You can tell from the warbling and the cracking. Sometimes a lot of birds, if you ever kept them, or Bridger, what? Y'all uncultured swines. You silly uncultured swines. I will call you this now.
So, but they are owls. Okay.
They are birds.
Oh, birds.
I would say
I'm not up in my bird law. I'm sorry.
I would say they are birds, not necessarily owls. Simply because of the fact, if you take a look at some of them, because there are 6 of them by the end of the episode, right?
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I think no, I thought there's
5.
four.
There's 5.
5. Okay.
5. So
Math
2
is
of them
hard.
are definitely come from owls. One almost looks like it comes from a cockatoo. So yeah,
This
they
guy in
have
the
this whole
back looks
idea.
like he's about to ask you how many licks does it take to get to the center of the Tootsie Pop.
3.
Yeah.
But what these folks are doing, they cosplay. They are, I don't know, what would be the best word? Homicidal cosplayers?
Yeah, so like their whole thing is they love to cosplay apparently. However, their
Yeah.
cosplay has world domination as their ultimate goal. They just want to cosplay and then potentially bring about the end of the world, which is
We're going to cosplay this planet to
interesting.
death. And I'm like, okay. Makes me wonder next time when I see my buddy Just Incredible cosplay and his, spouse. But
Next time you're at a Comic-Con, how many of these people are secretly birds looking to take
bird
over
people
the
from another
world?
planet.
Every single Deadpool you've ever seen at a Comic-Con, boom, they're
Bird.
all evil birds. Birds
Evil
aren't real.
So they keep going and they say, "Oh, we're going to have a party. We're going to, do the whole season finale." And what really gets me at this is one thing that I noticed is the whole timeline thing. Okay? Now I understand that episodes go, if we do a broadcast now and it's out into space and by the time it gets to whatever planet they're at, it's hundreds or thousands of
Yeah.
years later. How is it they knew exactly to come back to 1813 and Doc didn't even pick up on any just an evil bird? How come he didn't pick up on any time travel technology? Just saying, just putting that out there. Sorry.
That's always my thought when they go back in time and there's some sort of like world altering event. It's like, now, how did he not pick up any of this at any point? Like, you feel like he would have known, like, this happened. We got to go back here. I don't know. Maybe I'm just ignorant to how time travel works because Doctor Who does. It's all timey-wimey.
It's more like a rug. Never mind. So there's another view of them, and you can see, the curvier.
She's bigger in the back. Yes.
The curvier lady is definitely more owl features, and then the gentleman. There you go. You can see definitely we have like this very sharp. I mean, this was Lord Barton. He looked damn good.
Can we talk about like the costumes in this episode though? Like how good they did these costumes and effects, and whether like they're probably mostly practical effects. They got to be.
The costumes are definitely practical effects. I mean, obviously the transformation was CGI,
right?
But the makeup, that is practical. The costuming, I have a very good theory on that, and I think that has to do with the fact of why a lot of licensing was also done in this episode. I think it was done under the whole BBC umbrella.
Ooh.
So that's why I believe that, this was taken, like they might have actually done this in the off season of Bridgerton and use a set or two and borrowed some costumes and put this all
that
together.
makes sense. Yeah.
And because I said they used some music, I think they were you're a bad guy. It's copyright. But I knew they had that in Bridgerton, so I wouldn't be surprised if they, umbrella swept that all the way through to Doctor Who so they could get a little extra money out of it.
That would make sense. And but yeah, I mean, it was incredible. Like you couldn't even, man, these are definitely my favorite villains, if you will, of the season so far. If I have
bad
to say,
guy of the week,
how they looked. Yeah. Favorite bad guy of the week, villain of the week. You gotta have a favorite at one point. And so far, these guys are definitely mine.
Oh yeah, most definitely. So as they're chasing around, this and the other thing, the Doctor does get onto Rogue's ship. The Doctor figures out a little bit about Rogue. Finds out how he got his name, his nom de plume, his alias.
La 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 la.
You're getting a little ahead.
Sorry,
I was just more happy that we had a D&D reference.
My head. All right, we're good.
I just love the fact that I saw a set of polyhedral dice. But if this dude is time traveling, like seriously, could he have gotten a better set than just like plain old basic ass brown chessex? Like, dude, I roll with a set of metal dice in my bag every single day.
He's
and he got a $12 set.
Like,
yeah.
Look, okay, maybe they're hit backups. I don't know. Maybe that's a set you put out when company's coming over, so nobody steals the good set. I don't know.
No.
Look, I don't know.
Like, I don't have my dice with me.
He's dabbling, okay? He's just dabbling, all right?
Oh, I bet he's dabbling, all right.
He was just experimenting with his dice and what kind he wanted. And, he plays. Maybe he's just new to it. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
He was very suave, though. I liked, like, his
Oh,
whole demeanor
suave
is
as shit.
suave and stoic, which is, again, like, made me his hair, not all white people look alike, but, he gave me Henry Cavill vibes for sure. That's why I
Yep.
was like, "Henry Cavill. They should have cast him for this."
We'll get him one day. We're gonna put out in the universe,
I'm
and
putting it out there.
we need to say need to have Ken say Cavill for who, and then I can put the hashtag Ken was right, and that means it'll happen.
That's true. That is very true.
You know.
But this guy, I know we're gonna talk about it, so I can't wait to talk about who this guy reminded me of.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But while they're on Rogue ship, he's about to destroy the Doctor, and he's got this little triform,
It's a trap.
Zelda-looking thing. It's a trap.
He's sending him
Uh,
to the pocket dimension.
oh no 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 no! Before this, there you go. See, there we go. We got a Ken was right, but he needs to put out the fact that Cavill for thing, and then Ken was right.
Cavill for who?
That's right. So it was supposed to go to an incinerator of some sort, but the
Ah,
Doctor
yes.
finally took him into the TARDIS, and Rogue is just like super excited. It's like, oh my god, it's bigger than it said. It's clean. It's clean.
Well, yeah, that's the big thing. Like he gets in there and they're like, "Oh my gosh, this place is like messy and whatnot." Compared, and then he brings up a screwdriver. He's like, "Well, I've been meaning to put a couple shelves over there and everything." And it's just they're very contrasting when you look at how clean the TARDIS is compared
Mm-hmm.
to his ship.
Yep. And when they finally get on the TARDIS, they have a moment. The Doctor realizes that the ship that Rogue had was a dual piloting ship. So who did you lose? And they had a moment. Rogue asked the Doctor, who did he lose? He lost everyone.
That's one of the good things here is when they have like this amongst all of the buffoonery, if you will, they always take that beat to be like, well, man, like at the core, Doctor Who is a tragic character. He
Mm-hmm.
loses everybody. His companions all move on. He's, regenerated 15 times now and even split himself apart from his own body and gone through so much for the universe and given so much. He's lived, he's had kids, he's had a wife, and just absolutely crazy. And this what kind of it's those moments that they just really bring you back to remember all of that. That it isn't just some goofy sci-fi space travel show. It's like, no, there's real emotion to this. Oh,
Nope, we're
thoughts
not
and
to that part
theories.
yet.
Not
No,
there.
we're not at that. We're not at that point yet. So because I'm a good guy and I use all the credited stuff from BBC and Disney, I don't. I use exactly what comes in the press kit. So we're going to talk about the ending. So all the bird brains decide to, hey, we're going to have a wedding because that's what you have in British season finale.
Must have a wedding. Always have to
Yes,
have a wedding.
mind you, there's only been two weddings so far in the first few seasons.
Oof.
So
Oh,
they
there's
go
only
to
two. Okay.
well, there's been 3 or 4 seasons, but only 2 weddings.
Ah, so there isn't a wedding every time. You lied. I thought you were telling me there's been a wedding every time. I was just following
Well,
your lead.
there's love. There's
Ah,
love.
love
There's
in the
lust.
air.
There's books. There's all kinds of stuff. There's art. There's romance. There's deception. There's Julie freaking Andrews. What need do I say more? But again, talking Doctor Who, not talking Bridgerton. I think we're gonna have to do the next part of this as Bridgerton when I'm talking about Doctor Who. I
You're
didn't realize how much I
bridging.
liked. I didn't realize how much I liked the show. Uh, but either way, so they go to do the big, huge wedding, and when they walk out, Lord Byron is walking out with Lady Ruby Sunday of Notting Hill Estates, and the Doctor goes through so many emotions because they realize that when the Chulder take over a host, they kill the host. And the Doctor has flashbacks of seeing Ruby's mom, Cherry, of saying, "I will keep her safe. I will do this," and Rogue is just beside him, doesn't know what to do at this point. He is just so out of it. And then he's like, "How long did they live? Cool. Remember that little triform thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna turn it into a pocket dimension, and they can live there in a barren wasteland for however long they
600
live.
years or whatever it is. Yes.
600 years, which is kind of cool because actual bird physiology here is real. So like if anybody actually owns a parrot or a cockatoo,
My
any of
parents
the
do.
medium side, is that weird question. You ready for this one, Matt?
Let's do it.
Is the bird in the will?
Yes, actually the bird is in the will. I hate the bird, number one, because this bird just all it does is a dodo, and it's just annoying as hell. My mom says that she is giving it to me because she knows I hate the bird, but she also knows I would take care of the bird. And that bird is 80 something years old. That bird has lived. Uh,
So yeah.
God, I hate that bird so much. But
So
yes, the
so
bird's in the
so
will.
so space bird people live for 600 years as opposed to earth birds, which can be 80
Imagine
to
how many
100.
wills those guys are passed down through.
Bird is the word. So the doctor finally gets all of them, including what seems to be Ruby stuck in the Triforce or Tri whatever the heck. I'm just gonna call it Triforce.
She's in the triangle. Yeah, the
Yeah,
Triforce. There we go. Call it the Triforce.
she's in the Triforce. Sultan. Um, she's in the Triforce, and Ruby explains, "Doc, it's me," and gives him the whole
She was
rundown.
cosplaying.
She was cosplaying, which was
She
great.
fell right in. She was cosplaying.
Like seriously, it almost reminds me of the best cosplay I ever did. I only ever done one cosplay ever. This is for all the D&D nerds. You ready? I went to a convention with a piece of paper on my back that said I rolled a 1 for stealth and disguise.
Ah, that makes me want to know, like, chat, what was the best cosplay you've ever done personally? I've done a couple. I haven't really done anything too crazy. I was like Finn from Adventure Time once, but yours is a lot more deep cuts and funnier than mine was, I guess.
Oh, well, the best part is that whenever everybody would say, "Hey man, I love your costume," right? I would go, "Huh? What?" I didn't want to break anybody's speakers, but that was my whole stealth thing. I was being so loud. I thought it was hilarious. My mom was. I took my mom to a convention.
She was probably like, "Why are you yelling so much, Tom? What is wrong with you?"
I'm your son. That's why.
Well, Mom, you see
You
what
made
happened
me.
was.
I saw you do it. If you guys are old enough to remember that old drug commercial from the 80s.
I was just
Where'd you
dropped on
learn
my
to do
head as
this?
a baby, so.
Anyhow, the doctor figures out that it's Ruby, and he doesn't want to
Kill her.
send
Yeah.
her to the other dimension. So Rogue has the moment and asks him, "Can you sacrifice your friend for the sake of the world?" And Doc says no. And
Oh, this is
so he
beautiful.
grabs the detonator, and they just finally.
He says, "I know," and he
Smoochie.
grabs it, and they kiss, and it was
I
like a
learned by
beautiful
watching
moment.
you.
Yes.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you. I learned by watching you.
They share a beautiful moment, and then that's when he dives and knocks Ruby out, and then hits the button, and they disappear. Oh man, it was again, man, like it's those goofy times when you're just like, this is a goofy episode, but then you have moments like this that are just. And then I saw an article by Deadline, by the way. Did you see that article by Deadline that said the first same-sex kiss in 60 years of Doctor Who, like Captain
Bullshit.
Jack Harkness in
Bullshit.
2005 didn't kiss Christopher Eccleston? Like, get real. This is terrible journalism. Speaking of not citing things, like get some people who actually know what they're talking about to write
And not
these
only that,
articles for
Captain
you.
Jack Harkness kissed James Marsden, who was his trisexual former lover on Torchwood. You want to go?
And
You wanna
Torchwood
go?
is in the Doctor Who universe, for those of you who don't know anything about Torchwood, but guess what? There is literally Torchwood is a whole division of Doctor Who that gets introduced, and it's a whole spinoff thing. It's a whole big thing. But yes, the whole same-sex kiss the first time in 60 years is bullcrap. Better journalism.
Yes.
Be better out
Yes.
there.
Very much so. Only when you watch Torchwood, watch the first 3 seasons.
It wasn't great after. Yeah, I mean,
I'll be honest, just like the 8th Doctor, once the Americans get involved.
Yeah. But still,
Really how.
like
Anyhow.
Captain Jack Harkness, I mean, did he mean nothing to you guys? Because that's who I'm telling you, Rogue gave me Jack Harkness vibes the whole way.
Well, let's get into it. So the thoughts and theories from this episode. Okay, let's make this big. So sorry, we're gonna leave our faces and go big here for a second. Oh wait, we can do this button. Can we do this button?
That's my secret, Cap. I'm always big.
We're still learning. That goes there. Hey,
there we are.
We'll split
There
us in
we
the
go.
middle. Cool. So our thoughts and theories on this one. Now, these are everything I came up with. If Matt has a few of his own to add, you are more than welcome to. Okay. First and foremost, this had the real feel of Who finally. Not
Yes.
saying that, what has been going on this whole season has been lackluster. I just don't think that it really had the same vibe of what Doctor Who needed to be for me.
All right, let's talk about that for a second then.
Okay.
Because I do have something on this. I don't have anything against Ruby Sunday.
Hmm.
However, we haven't spent enough time with her to endear ourselves, I guess, to her. And then for Doctor to basically like she's my best friend. I mean, maybe, but for like us, the audience, I feel like I haven't spent enough time with her that I'm like, I'm not invested in Ruby Sunday yet. Like her whole mysterious, like who was her real mom, that snowy day, like, okay, sure, I guess, but I'm not fully just invested in her like you normally would be with like an Amy Pond or a Rose or any of the other companions. We haven't had enough time, man. That's another thing where it's like, oh, we have 8 episodes for this season. That's just what's going to happen. They kind of sacrifice some of that character development and endearment that we would get in previous seasons.
But on the flip to that, did the Doctor and Ruby Tuesday Sunday, I mean, get that
Ruby
all?
Tuesdays are going out of style chain of restaurants. Come on, Tom.
uh, Dude, I've been making the joke every episode. Roll with me.
I know.
Okay. Um, do you think that they were having off-camera adventures?
Oh, of course they were.
A lot of folks do follow Doctor Who in the audiobooks and the book books. So was there some more development there? And we'll get that after the fact. So I could see where the Doctor might come off as, oh yeah, she's my best friend. Technically, she's his only friend right now, too.
Yeah, true. Doctor, I'm your only friend. Exactly.
Hmm. And then as things are going, we get the run, and that's my line, which was fantastic to finally hear run.
Yes.
But it wasn't from the Doctor. We usually get it. I mean, think about it. Eccleston's first words to Rose were run.
And it's one of those things they call back. And so from it being not him this time, I love that little, it's the little things, man.
Hmm. And speaking of callback, I thought that where we might be going now with Doctor Who, that Rogue could be the new Captain Jack Harkness. What do you think?
Ooh. Yes, I don't think that we're done with Rogue yet.
No, I don't believe so
I
at all.
think that they place too much importance on him like especially being in the Doctor's life for as little as he was in this grand scheme of things. I think there's some more to be done with Rogue, and I would absolutely love that because I thought the actor did a great job. I thought their on-screen chemistry was really fantastic, and if it's to be believed, which I do think that Ruby Sunday, her character is done after this season. Why not bring? No, that leaves the door open. Like, what if he finds Rogue and they do some adventures and he fills that seat or something like that?
Okay, so here's where I'm gonna throw a little salt on the wound here.
That's fine.
If Millie Gibson is leaving, which all the reports have been saying, right? I think that going to Rogue as the next companion is not a very good idea.
Okay.
Simply for the fact that with everything going on, having a love interest at the same time can muddy up things. I know the way that they did with Rose is one thing. I know how they did it with River's Song was a very different thing. But I think that by pushing the narrative for a couple out in space is what they were trying to make up for when they were trying to figure out, oh, how do we write Jodie Whittaker's Doctor? Like, I
Mm.
think my biggest concern was what they were trying to do originally with Jodie Whittaker was, okay, you're a woman, you need a man to attach onto. And I think, oh, we totally missed that point. Let's try and do it with the next Doctor, which does go down. And I'm going to jump down here to pushing the lust. I get love at first sight. I get, hey, we're out at a party and like, hey, let's party, let's have a good time. Was this necessary?
He was a little hard too fast. I think he fell. I will say, like, is it necessary? I think it
And
fits into
this is just
this.
me. I'm just
Well,
saying.
I think it fits within his version of the Doctor because he's very in tune with his feelings. He wears his heart on his sleeve. He's very an emotional, kind of doctor. And I love that. And, there's also reports too, that we've been told by somebody who may or may not work in the realm of things, the Doctor Who, that Ncuti hasn't decided if he wants to stay on either as the Doctor for a set period of time or anything either. So I hope he sees the reception and decides to maybe stick around for a couple seasons, because I would like to see more of this Doctor and growing and developing. But I think, it wasn't undeserved, but I think he fell a little hard fast. But I think that's within his character that he's playing.
I will agree with you that it's in his character, simply for the fact that we've never seen a doctor so in tune with his EQ, with his his emotional quotient. Um, but again, like, I don't know if I need my doctor to be in love with somebody. I don't know if I need my doctor to be lustful over somebody. Like,
Yeah, I don't really, because I don't think, like, for some reason Doctor Who, like, he's just not that kind of, or she, whichever, they're like not the one to be in relationships, right? Like the
But
Doctor,
if
he
you
is, but
take
he's
a
not.
look if you take a look above where it said pushing the lust, look at it. It says psychic paper malfunction. The psychic paper did malfunction,
It
which was
did.
great to finally see the psychic paper back. So I'm all about that. Oh yeah, you're hot. I was like, well, thank you. Well, wait, are you hot or am I hot? Look, I'll be honest. Both of them very hot. I'm
Yes.
comfortable who I am, so I'm good
Same.
with that.
Same. I'll admit it. No shame
Uh,
here.
and speaking of all the hotness, with Jonathan Groff being the Tony nominated actor that he is, I wanted more spittle. I wanted some sort of Hamilton reference, like, especially if we're going to
Yeah.
be in this whole time and space, it's all wibbly wobbly. I wanted more spittle. I would have loved a spit joke or something. And if anybody doesn't know, if you watch Hamilton on Disney Plus, you will see Jonathan Groff play the king, and he gets so into his character that you just see
He's
just coming
just
right off.
spitting everywhere. Oh man.
There
I did
wasn't even
notice
a
that.
joke to the king, like there wasn't there anything there. All right, so let's go back over to the first thing, the painting. All right, the former lady of the house. I, I'm I'm done. I am done theorizing. Now we know that next week, after looking at the preview, we're talking about this woman that has been in every single episode. We have no idea, Susan Twist, what the heck is going on with her.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm glad we're finally getting something out of that, but I'm done. I thought she was a member of the Pantheon, but she was always alive in every single thing, or at least there. Now she's a freaking painting on the wall. I am done theorizing. I am over it. I said good day.
I don't even bother theorizing with Doctor Who overly, just because I know I'm going to be wrong no matter what at the end of the day. Because they try
I
to take
said
you.
good day.
Well, all right. Well, all right. All right. All right. Well, how about some of your other theories or thoughts? We got
Okay,
two more we haven't talked about yet.
so I have a real big concern that's going on with here. All right, ever since Shooty's taken over the role as 15th Doctor, it's been the destruction of Gallifrey. The destruction of Gallifrey.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, last time I checked, Gallifrey was stuck in a pocket dimension on the 60th anniversary special.
It was.
Who knows? Right? Where
Mm.
Tom Baker came back as the curator. So I'm like, what is going on? Because if the doctor now believes that Gallifrey was destroyed, what is going on? Like, somebody jumped the boat there. If I'm wrong, please let me
Is
know,
it?
chat.
Do you think it's more of like they forgot about that somehow since they changed writers kind of up again, or is it? Do you think there's something bigger at play here?
I'll even say that maybe with the bifurcation generation that they did, that maybe Tenant 14 remembers it, but 15 doesn't, and
Oh,
that
that's
is
a good
the
one.
biggest stretch I got out of this.
That would be the only thing I can think of, because I feel like the Doctor would very much like remember what all went down, because he doesn't forget anything, or she doesn't forget anything, whatever body form he or she has
That
at the
they,
time.
yeah.
Yeah. So like, yeah, that would be my like, hey, we separated and maybe not everything transferred over to this new and improved version that we're seeing now with Ncuti. But again, I don't know. sometimes I want to give them the benefit of the doubt, but then sometimes they just do things.
Because reasons.
Exactly. It's timey-wimey, all right? That's the best way we can just say it. It's timey-wimey.
Now, if you take a look over here, the bottom one on the left hand side, it says different Sonic or was that lighting? Now, I remember just a few months ago when they introduced the new Sonic remote screwdriver, uh,
Yes.
that it had blue and bronze-ish details on it, especially for the light trim had bronze. But in this episode, it had a little bit of a rose color.
Yeah, I noticed the red lighting with it. I wonder if that had to do with the triangle or oh, was it the 50th anniversary? Did we say 60th? 50th anniversary. Day of the I knew it was the day of the doctor. I thought it was the 6th. Did we say 60th? It was the 50th?
Yeah, whatever.
You know what,
Again,
man? I'm
wibbly wobbly,
sorry. I
timey
do
wimey.
remember it was Day of the Doctor. You're right, though, if it was the 50th. And do I have amnesia? Probably. I've been hitting the head a lot. I don't know. I'm sorry.
But he does look good in a helmet, ladies and gentlemen. Let me
He
tell you that.
does. He does.
But yeah, exactly. Thank you, Rose. I appreciate it. The fact that we are talking and nobody else remembers it. But again, that's my theory. Bifurcation by generation. One remembers, one forgets. So that's where I'm at with that.
Now, with the
And,
red
and
lighting, what's your thoughts on the lighting? Was it just different
oh yeah,
colors
so
coming
about
off?
that,
Or
I think that it just matched his outfit. He was wearing nice crushed velvet.
honestly, like I can respect that. Like, hey, the sonic screwdriver remote matches your outfit. All right, let me get one of those things. Like, hell yeah. Because what if you show up to a party like this and you're carrying something that just does not match your red velvet suit?
Like seriously, what are you going to do when you go to a
Embarrassing.
black and white affair?
And you got I don't even know what, like a lime green light going on. I don't know.
Like seriously, white tux. I mean, if we're going to keep pushing this whole Bridgerton stuff, I mean, you go to dinner dressed white tux.
I overall though don't know how I feel about his version of the remote. I don't like how it looks. That's my minor pity complaint. Like I'm just complaining at this point. I don't like how his remote looks. I
I
don't.
I think that they were smart to change between 14 and 15. Reason being is that I did not like that hard light. Um, see, Rose agrees with me. See,
Yeah.
that's what all good Whovians do. We have a nice conversation. We don't argue. We have a good
We could have a
conversation.
good conversation. We finally get to that common ground where we all agree that yes, I'm pretty sure the
Matt's
15th
right.
has you
Yep.
know what? When in doubt, Matt's right. You're correct.
But I didn't like how 14 had that hard light, 3D printer aesthetic.
Yeah, that was
So I was like,
weird.
that was cheap.
Yeah.
That was cheap
Because it
as
was like
far
a
as I was
shield. It
concerned.
felt like it was like, obviously the doctor has
Like,
plot armor, but that felt like extra plot armor where they're like using it as a shield. I'm just like, okay,
I'm like,
all
okay,
right.
who's been watching a little too much Star Trek Discovery with their new tricorders? Just saying.
Like, come on, man. When have they ever been able to do that? Never. But I'm
I,
all for like new
so
introductions and
going
things.
back to the sonic screwdriver remote, yeah, I guess. I think that also one thing that they may have wanted to get away from is, especially if you look at Jodie Whittaker's, hers was curved, and
Yeah.
might have looked a little more pew pew.
Like Count Dooku's lightsaber almost.
Exactly, but I don't think she practiced second form. Just saying.
Yeah. I will say though, like I guess my one big thing with it is like functionality. Like, what if you're running around? I feel like it's harder to hold something that's like flat like that if I'm versus something like this. Like this is easier to handle, whereas like this, I don't know. I just feel like the cylindrical is easier to hold. Where if I'm in a tight spot,
Well, if you get a really good look at it, it looks like like a stingray shaped
oh,
mouse.
that was like
So
a
if you
triangle almost. That's
no,
what.
it's more like
Oh,
a mouse and it's in a sharp hammerhead shape kind of
'cause
looking
then I
thing.
feel like I'm messing with like the buttons on top and my thumbs are all. I don't know. This is just me complaining just to complain, I guess.
Well, I would definitely recommend if you get a chance, go to the Doctor Who YouTube channel, double check their thing about the Sonic when Ncuti came to be. They even talk about the design of how they came up with it and how it has been
Ooh.
personalized for Ncuti with his Nigerian background as well.
Oh, see, I didn't know all that exists. That's
Yeah, I
really
know
cool.
these things.
See,
This is why I
this
do this
see,
thing.
you dive more into like Star Wars. That's where I'm at. Doctor Who, I love Doctor Who, but you got into it like that's you're showing me the light. I got to go and do some research now.
So, anything else that we got as far as thoughts and theories before we finally give our final scores on this?
No, I'm just interested to see how they're going to wrap everything up without it feeling too rushed. I want it to be a good payoff because I'm glad that Doctor Who is finally back. I'm glad that I like these characters. I like the actors, I like the actresses. Everybody's been phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
I'm just worried about, was there enough time to make it make sense in the end and feel like it paid off? So that's the only thing I'm worried about heading into the finale. But I've had fun overall. A couple episodes, like the mine one, I didn't care too much for. Last week's, I didn't really care too much
Well,
for.
hold on, Matt. You're getting a little ahead of yourself.
I'm sorry.
Remember,
You're right. I'm sorry.
you're signed on to come back for the finale. Every companion from this whole thing is signed on to come back for the finale episode. So we're gonna have
That's
the big
right.
round table then. Just
You're
set up.
right. All right. You're right. You're right. I'm sorry.
Let's
I
talk
get ahead
about
of
this
myself.
episode,
I get ahead of myself. No,
Matthew.
this episode, I don't have any other really thoughts. I thought it was a good overall episode. I really like the introduction of Rogue. I want to see more Rogue.
Don't we all? And I will roll for insight. Hopefully, we'll get that at some point. So, talking about our scores. All right. So, for me, I gave this a 12.5
Ooh.
and out of 15. And again, we're basing everything on 15, 1 to 15, because there's 15 doctors. I gave this a 12.5, so it's technically a doctor and a companion. So, we gave it a Capaldi and an Ardal. Simply for the fact that it did feel like it's finally an old class episode of Doctor Who, more of a new Who vibe. But again, there's something about pushing that narrative for the sexy time did not do it for me. And again, the fact that it just, I want to know where the hell we're going, like Matt said.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the big one.
It's not a perfect 15 just yet. And I believe this is the highest episode I've done so far. So
Yeah,
Matt,
I'm with you. So I give us a well-rounded one just because I didn't want to have to play around with picking a companion and all that stuff. And I liked it. 13 out of 15 for me. Solid 13. The only things I didn't like again were things that they felt a little rushed. There wasn't a lot of time spent, not a lot of payoff in the end. It was a little rushed as far as things with Rogue. I would have liked to have seen things a little bit more there. And then I like the costume designs. I love that this was like a classic Doctor Who. Like it was just bonkers. Some things didn't make sense. Some things are really fun. And then they're playing around with these different, other pop culture universes. And there's some really cool dance moves going down as well. I always love a good dance party. So for me, yeah, even 13 out of 15 with that one.
mm-hmm.
Ooh, a gadget. Yeah, it just looked like a
Yes,
TV
it
remote.
is.
Who replaced Ruby? I can't find the remote again.
It's true. So, as always, first and foremost, I want to thank you, Matt. But don't forget, do the homework. Make sure you hit that subscribe, click the bell for notifications, and then tap that thumbs up because we want to make sure the bosses know we're doing what we're doing. We're doing it well. Okay. And then because we had half of the dynamic 2-0, big thank you to Hops Geeks
Yeah.
News for hanging out with us tonight. Okay. And on top of that, Matt, tell everybody where they can find you on the interwebs.
Man, we are everywhere. My co-host and I, Lauren, we just wrapped up a little mini vacation with one another over the last week. So we just dropped an episode today, recapping The Boys, because The Boys is about to get started, which I think Lauren, speaking of Nerd Initiative TV talk, she's in talks to do some post Boys episode things for Nerd Initiative. So again, the only way to do that, or we will also be doing live episodes this week on Wednesday. We're going to do a live Cantina hour. Tom's going to come on an episode with us, talk some pop culture. That'll drop next week. And the only way to do that is scan that QR code or just search Hops Geek News, any podcast platform, any social media platform. We have a Facebook group. It's all there. Come interact, come hang out, jump on the Discord, whatever it may be. We've been doing some really fun things and watching some really bad movies with our Patreons.
And don't forget, next week, Lauren's actually going to be the companion on this too.
She is. Lauren is coming on. She is. She's going to take the role of Ruby Sunday next week.
Tuesday.
You're right. She's going to be Ruby Tuesday next week.
And don't forget about all the fantastic stuff we got going on here. And if you're not very sure, make sure just click this QR code, check out our website, sign up for the newsletter. We definitely want to keep you all in the know with what's going on. And you know what? If you're loving everything that you see here and you want to wear your nerd on your sleeve for the upcoming con season, get your merch right here. Matt looks fantastic. He's actually going to be our first model. Finally, we're going to have him strutting up and down.
I got a hoodie. I got a hat. I'm going to have to do some modeling to put on the site. I'm just saying.
Yep. Yeah, we always like the tall, skinny ones. Me, I can't model anything. Hand model, that's about it. But they don't make any ring bling just yet.
Not yet.
Now, speaking of Matt and I, we talked about it earlier. We are part two of the co-hosts of the fantastic show here called Turn a Page. That's right. You can check out me, Matt, and Ken every single Tuesday right here, 8 o'clock Eastern Central Time. There's so much stuff going on here at Nerd Initiative. We've got Turn a Page, we've got TV Talk, we've got Matt doing all of his fantastic Star Wars stuff. We've got the Acolyte, we've got the Road to Deadpool, we've got Matt's lightsaber. Can't see mine. Mine's up on the wall. We've got.
My Legos even for Star
That's
Wars.
why
They're
if you
Star
take
Wars
a
Legos.
Star Wars Lego. I actually have the Doctor Who TARDIS Lego Dimensions
Really want
figure.
that.
Oh yeah, not the TARDIS one with Clara. The
Back when they
Lego
did the
Dimensions
game,
one.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I got that one. Anyhow, we're just a bunch of nerds. There's TV Talk. There's the Road to Deadpool. There's fandoms. There's dropping in from the top road. Wrestling Night Live. There is so much content coming at you from Nerd Initiative. We want you there to be following it because we are only as good as you are. The
That's
more
right.
you're in with us, the more we're in with you. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, Matt, tell them again where they can find you at.
Man, go ahead. Hopsgeek News. It's right there in the, that's it. All you got to do is search our name. You're going to find us everywhere on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, podcast platforms. You know it. We're there. Come hang out with us. And then, of course, my goodness, tomorrow night, turn a page, 8 p.m. Eastern. And man, make sure you just follow along with us. We have DC comic reviews. We have comic book day on Wednesday. Man, there isn't a day in the week that Nerd Initiative isn't doing something. And it's because of people who watch this, like all of you guys, and really awesome people like Tom here.
Oh, I thank you. Again, I'm only as good as the team I work with because we're all all work, no lurk.
Heck yeah. That's
You
right.
know,
That's right. See it. Our the hardest working man comic books right there. Consistent and
that's right.
active.
He has a plaque that says so.
He
Says
does.
as such.
He is our tribal chief.
I still say Maestro, but I think I'm going to take that from my Power Ranger content, the Morphin Maestro. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, my name's Off the Cuff Tom. Thank you so much. And as I always used to say,